Shajar al-Durr, the slave who became Sultana of Egypt, in a time when women were hidden behind palace walls, when empires rose and fell on the edge of a sword. One woman rose from slavery to sit on the throne of Egypt. Her name, Shajar al-Durr, a name you probably never heard in school, but one that shook the Islamic world in the 13th century. She was a slave, a queen, a general, and a killer. This is the untold story of the woman who outwitted kings, ruled a nation, and changed the course of Egyptian history. Our story begins in the early 13th century. Shajar al-Durr, her name means tree of pearls, was most likely born of Turkic or Armenian origin. She was sold into slavery like countless others, a mere commodity in a world where beauty, intelligence, and obedience had a price. But Shajar was different. She entered the harem of Sultan al-Salih Ayyub, ruler of Egypt under the Ayyubid dynasty, descendants of the famous Saladin. Within the gilded walls of the harem, she wasn't just seen, she was heard. Ayyub recognized her intelligence and political acumen. She became his favorite, then his wife, and eventually his most trusted advisor. This was no ordinary consort. She was learning the mechanisms of power from inside the palace, whispering strategies into the ear of the Sultan. 1249. The sands of Egypt tremble. The Seventh Crusade, led by King Louis X of France, launches an invasion. Crusader ships land at Damietta, and war descends upon Egypt once more. But then, a devastating blow. Sultan al-Salih dies in the middle of the crusade. If news got out that the ruler was dead, chaos would erupt. The army could fracture. The crusaders could march to Cairo unopposed. So, what did Shajar do? She hid his death. She forged decrees in his name. She sent orders to generals. She ran Egypt from behind a curtain. And no one knew she even had his body embalmed and hidden in the citadel, while a loyal eunuch pretended the Sultan was merely ill. Meanwhile, Shajar orchestrated the war effort. And get this, under her command, the Egyptians defeated the Crusaders at the Battle of Mansoura. They even captured King Louis IX himself. That's right. While Europe sent its mightiest king, Egypt sent a woman to stop him, and she won. With the war won and no ruler on the throne, Shajar made a move that defied centuries of tradition. She declared herself Sultana of Egypt, ruler in her own name. Coins were minted bearing her name, Al-Mustasimiyya al-Sultaniyya. The khutbah, the Friday sermon, was read in her honor. This was not ceremonial power, it was real. But this created a political earthquake. A woman ruling openly? The Abbasid Caliph in Baghdad called it unacceptable. A woman on the throne of Islam? Impossible, he said. To ease the pressure, Shajar made a calculated move. She married Izz al-Din Aybak, a powerful Mamluk general. A marriage of convenience more than love. But here's the twist. Even after their marriage, she continued to run Egypt. Aybak was technically the Sultan, but Shajar pulled the strings. But power is a poisoned cup. As Aybak grew more ambitious, he wanted to rule in his own right. He began conspiring to take full control, and marry a second wife, the daughter of a rival emir. To Shajar, this was betrayal. She struck first. In 1257, Aibak was found dead in the royal baths. His death? An assassination ordered by Shajar. But this time her enemies struck back. Aibak's 15-year-old son, al-Mansur Ali, backed by the Mamluks, took power. They arrested Shajar. She was imprisoned and then beaten to death by Aibak's concubines using wooden clogs, a brutal, humiliating end to a woman who ruled like a lioness. Shajar al-Durr ruled in her own right for just over 80 days, but her legacy rippled for centuries. She played a central role in founding the Mamluk dynasty, which would go on to rule Egypt for over 2 centuries. She changed what it meant to be a ruler, proving that strength, strategy, and vision weren't limited by gender. Even in death, she left her mark. Her tomb in Cairo still stands, elegant, defiant, like the woman herself. In a world where women were supposed to stay silent, Shajar al-Durr didn't just speak, she ruled. And when history tried to forget her, she became legend. A woman born in bondage, who died a queen. If this story blew your mind, hit that like button so more people hear it. Subscribe and ring that bell for more queens, rebels, and rulers lost to time.